It's always been a great community. It's still a great community because it's populated by great people in the community who love Atlanta.
This is National Night Out, and we're pleased to be here in the Collier Heights, historic Collier Heights community. So we've got representatives from all of our public safety agencies here, APD, AFRD, the court system are here at this time, and we're having a cookout, but it's bigger than that. We are reclaiming the streets for the community, from the criminals. You know, you can't terrorize us anymore. You can't victimize us anymore.
We have to be intentional about rebuilding relationship between community and our police. And I think it's not just about building the relationship, but reinstilling trust back in our communities. And especially at a time where crime is at its highest we've seen in this nation, I think it's even more important that we're working collaboratively with, our local police officers and our community members to help mitigate the continued rise in crime.
Anytime that a community comes together, it builds a stronger city. When neighbors talk to each other, when they talk to their elected officials, and they talk to their firefighters and police officers, it makes for a really strong community, and that's what we want to see across the city. So tonight is proof of that all of our neighborhoods are strong and vibrant, and together we can make our city safe.
It's an opportunity for them to get close up to the residents and just really show that they're human beings. Police officers are human beings just like anybody else. They've got feelings, and so the police love doing this. This is their time where they get an opportunity to really come together and don't have to write reports and can really talk on the same level as the citizens.
Thank you all so much.
At the heart of National Night Out, safer and stronger communities happen when we're connected. And for 17 years, Midtown Neighborhood Association has been hosting this event. Even the rain didn't keep people away. I think it speaks to the sense of community here that exists. The city's going through a challenging time right now, and connectedness and community is even more important than it has been over the last several years.
We are here because we are very encouraged, and we want our neighbors to do Citizens on Patrol, look out for one another during this crime wave here in Northwest Atlanta.
And when we talk about crime, it's more than just our police officers who, of course, put their lives on the line every day and night for us, but we have to have strong communities and strong community policing where the people know the officers and the officers know the people in the communities, and we can work together to drive out crime from our neighborhoods.
I just got through with a conversation with the Atlanta Police Department and the community, asking questions about crime and how we can make a difference. And I'm very excited about the enthusiasm from the neighborhood folks.
You see something, you what? Say something. We need to fight this crime. That's why I'm glad to see these officers out here.
This is the neighborhood that I live in, and these beautiful homes have beautiful neighbors, and they're all here to talk about public safety and to see each other. Always remember to be safe and to look out for your fellow man and take care of your police officers as they take care of us.
Historic Collier Heights neighborhood happens to be my neighborhood, and so this is always my last best stop. The rain didn't stop them. They're out here to fellowship, to meet their neighbors, to have fun with their neighbors, but also to keep cognizant and remember about public safety. Our fire department and police department always come out so the community can say thank you to them for all the great work that they do.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Stay at Home Connect. I'm Phyllis Jackson. Hospitalizations growing across the nation as the COVID-19 surge continues. The CDC says nearly 40% of those hospitalizations are concentrated in Florida, Louisiana, and here in Georgia. Encouraging news as COVID-19 vaccinations are also seeing an increase in Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Mississippi. Pharmaceutical company Moderna says a third shot of the COVID-19 vaccine will be needed as we head into winter. The company says the existing vaccine loses some of its effectiveness after about 6 months. The CDC is working with the FDA on a vaccine booster plan that could kick off next month. United Airlines mandates COVID-19 vaccines for all of its employees. United becomes the first major airline to implement the mandate. Amazon and Lyft, among several companies, opting not to reopen their offices until 2022. Google, Microsoft, and Uber are looking to reopen its offices in October of this year.
We're out here today at the Winston Boys and Girls Club down on Lakewood Avenue in Southeast Atlanta in partnership with Clover Healthcare, Hillsong, Atlanta Church, with Pastor Sam as the leader, and of course, other community partners who donated to do a back-to-school book drive. And this is probably the largest book drive that has taken place to this point in the summer. We definitely have a bounty. We're not just giving away the actual books bags, but they're chock full of supplies. Everything, papers, pencils, everything you need, rulers, stuff for school. And in addition to that, on top of that, to reward the good students who do well, we've got not only Xbox controllers, but Xbox chargers in addition to that. And people are still bringing supplies. We had targeted about 250 families. We've exceeded that. The giving has been so good that we have supplied over 250 families. We want to make sure that they are as equipped as possible so that they can tackle their academic year with verve and fervor and can make sure that they do as well as they can.
Today we're here in Northwest Atlanta to say goodbye to this old eyesore that has been plaguing this community for over a decade. Sierra Ridge was a drug haven, drug-infested parcel of land right here at 3202 Delmar Lane. So community members gathered here today because this is the beginning of the rehabilitation and renovation of Sierra Ridge. Over 10 years ago, there were over 300 code enforcement violations, over 300 calls to 911, and we knew that we had to do something about it. It is very important that they have a safe, sanitary environment. We will be working with the owners of this property and the developers to make sure that the quality of life for all residents exists in Northwest Atlanta. We are here at Greenbrier Mall for our community wellness and Empower Day. And what that means is we're giving out vaccine shots. Walgreens is here. Wellness is everything. We know that right now everyone needs to be vaccinated. The COVID vaccination is here. When we're talking about Empower, we have resources here for not just children, but for the adults. We have fresh produce because the Fulton County, partnered up with Chairman Pitts. And so the Fulton County is here with their fresh produce truck. The library is here, Fulton County Library. Those resources are here. Children are loving that I am giving out book bags. Our city solicitor donated book bags. We have another restaurant around here, Area 4. They've donated book bags, and my office has donated hundreds of book bags. And these book bags are full. We have a lot going on because District 11 is really getting ready to be empowered and well. And that's what today is about.
It's always been a great community. It's still a great community because it's populated by great people in the community who love Atlanta.
This is National Night Out, and we're pleased to be here in the Collier Heights, historic Collier Heights community. So we've got representatives from all of our public safety agencies here, APD, AFRD, the court system are here at this time, and we're having a cookout, but it's bigger than that. We are reclaiming the streets for the community, from the criminals. You know, you can't terrorize us anymore. You can't victimize us anymore.
We have to be intentional about rebuilding relationship between community and our police. And I think it's not just about building the relationship, but reinstilling trust back in our communities. And especially at a time where crime is at its highest we've seen in this nation, I think it's even more important that we're working collaboratively with our local police officers and our community members to help mitigate the continued rise in crime.
Anytime that a community comes together, it builds a stronger city. When neighbors talk to each other, when they talk to their elected officials, and they talk to their firefighters and police officers, it makes for a really strong community, and that's what we want to see across the city. So tonight is proof of that all of our neighborhoods are strong and vibrant, and together we can make our city safe.
It's an opportunity for them to get close up to the residents and just really show that they're human beings. Police officers are human beings just like anybody else. They've got feelings, and so the police love doing this. This is their time where they get an opportunity to really come together and don't have to write reports and can really talk on the same level as the citizens.
Thank you all so much.
At the heart of National Night Out, safer and stronger communities happen when we're connected. And for 17 years, Midtown Neighborhood Association has been hosting this event. Even the rain didn't keep people away. I think it speaks to the sense of community here that exists. The city's going through a challenging time right now, and connectedness and community is even more important than it has been over the last several years.
We are here because we are very encouraged.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Again, this is Madeline Archibong. I am chair of the City Utilities Committee. This is the August 10th, 2021 meeting, and I hereby call this meeting to order. Mr. Evans, would you introduce the members now in attendance, please?
Councilmember Andrea L. Boone.
Present.
Councilmember Dustin Hillis. Here. Councilmember J.P. Matskite. Here. Councilmember Joyce Shepard.
Present.
Councilmember Howard Shook. Aye. And Councilmember Cleta Winslow.
Present.
Councilmember Archibong, Chair Archibong, there's a quorum present, and I'm being asked to pause for a second while the communications and IT team work out something.
Okay, while we're doing that, colleagues, will you please let me know who needs to do a voice vote? Ms. Boone? Are you on the system?
Yes.
Mr.
I am not on the system yet.
Okay, not yet. Mr. Hillis, are you on the system?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Matskite, are you on the system?
Voice vote.
Okay. Ms. Shepard, are you on the system?
I'm on the system.
Thank you. Mr. Shook, are you on the system?
Aye.
Awesome. Ms. Winslow, are you on the system?
Voice vote.
Voice vote. Okay. Did I miss anyone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, we're good.
All right, Chair Archibald, we're ready to proceed.
All right, great. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Evans, would you now read the remote meeting statement?
Certainly. This City Utilities Committee is being conducted remotely as advertised and in accordance with OCGA 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert's Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting by dialing 1-877-579-6743, conference ID 831-599-1256, which was noted on the Saturday, August 7th public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, the Council's homepage at citycouncil.atlantanga.gov, the Council's YouTube channel, the Council's Facebook and Twitter pages via @ATL Council. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council City Utilities Committee presentation page. The agenda was published and made available Saturday, August 7th via atlantacitygA.iqm2.com. The public was able to submit comments via voicemail at 404-330-6057 between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. the day before this meeting. The comments will be played during the public comment portion of the meeting. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to mute your phones and speakers. Additionally, speakers must be acknowledged by the presiding officer prior to speaking. Each council member is requested to open your Outlook email and minimize the screen. Amendments, substitutes, and informational documents have been distributed to committee members beforehand. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
All right. All right, thank you for that. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. I will entertain a motion.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second Shepherd.
Thank you, Ms. Shepherd. If there's no other discussion, this will be an electronic vote. Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
All right, thank you. Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Winslow, how do you vote?
In favor.
Okay. Mr. Shook?
Yeah, I'm off the radar screen here. I vote aye.
Thank you, sir.
The vote is closed, and it is 7 yeas.
All right, that is unanimously approved. Next, we will go to public comment. Oh, did we vote on the adoption of the agenda? No, we're saying it at the same time. I'll entertain the motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'll second it. If there's no unreadiness, please open the vote.
The vote is open.
All right, Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
Yes, Madam Chair, I am on the system right now. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Looks like we're waiting on Ms. Winslow. How do you vote?
In favor.
All right, thank you. Is that everyone? Okay, yes, that is unanimously approved. Mr. Evans, am I correct?
Yes, you are.
All right, thank you very much. I am trying to use my computer only, and it's jumping around a little bit, so if I get off track, please keep me straight here. All right, next we're to section F, public comment. I understand we do have public comment.
I am Brother Anthony Mount. I am a spiritual and soul man. And I am not religious no more. I call on it city utilities, and members of this committee to hear my plea. I call on members of the Caucasians of the state of Atlanta, and I want you members, the Caucasians, to know I appreciate your energy you have shown even in Atlanta as we have stood up against wrongdoing by different institutions in the capital city of Atlanta. I will walk in large of many of you, Georgia State students, which is my alumni. I walk with Morris Brown students. I walk with members of the community. And I recognize that the city utilities committees, we have a representative district level. Ms. Overstreet and herself is showing great work on behalf of my district and with the problem with the public works department, dropping waste on the street, saturated into the paved street that was paved less than 10 years ago. And it has been said that it is saturated so bad by a supervisor named Jimmy, they cannot use the switch street. So I ask, what can the utility committee do? I ask the influence, as Caucasians have been influenced by their own members in business and government since the installation of government and business in North America. So I ask that Ms. Overstreet words be understood and collaboration on behalf of this committee to get something done for the benefit of the comers to have a street that is saturated with waste from a broken public works truck or a truck that was allowed to waste from one end of it to the end, a new street with sidewalks that were paved just continue to go. So I ask you members of the Caucasian, continue to, I recognize it's our will today, people, to have justice, freedom, and equality for all people. Brother Anthony Muhammad,
Greetings, council members and staff. A special greetings to you citizens and voters of Atlanta who are monitoring your government in action this election year. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. On the website of the City of Atlanta can be found the following words in effect. Get involved and make your voice heard. City government relies on input from our assembled commissions and the general public. Some of these committees, boards, and commissions are groups of residents from NPUs, neighborhood planning units, and some are industry professionals appointed by the mayor. These groups, boards, and commissions advise the City of Atlanta on matters as far-reaching as tree conservation, land use and rezoning, historic preservation, environmental concerns, housing, and even the Department of City Planning's own processes. How will you make your voice heard? I say our city has done a fair job of, quote, sunsetting, unquote, boards and commissions that are no longer relevant. Now let's do a good job about, quote, sunrising, unquote, the boards and commissions that remain. We need to go back to the good old days when each board had a city staff person assigned to it to help that board stay viable and relevant, and by the way, nowadays, in accord with the Georgia Open Meetings Act. Citizens need to know how they can participate in their government by being a member of boards and commissions, such as the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board, the Atlanta Commission on Women, the Atlanta Youth Commission, the Atlanta Commission on Veterans Affairs, and People TV, etc. The more citizen participation we have, the less we will have to contend with the antics of the SBUR 9, Antonita Robinson, Claude Claire, Ricardo Jacobs, Renette L. Scott, Albert White, Allison Hathaway, Broadway, Sherry Williams, Cheryl Brown, Agent X, to be named later, and the NCUR 9 cohorts, enablers, and supporters. Let's join the board, commission, or authority, folks.
And that concludes public comment.
All right, thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda is we have two presentations, Department of Watershed Management and the Department of Public Works. Is the Department of Watershed Management ready for their quarterly report? And we do have the handout in our packet of their slide deck.
Hey, good morning, Madam Chair and City Utility Committee's members. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to update you on the Department of Watershed Management's progress during the fourth and final quarter of fiscal year 21. I will be advancing through the slides, but you can advance to slide number 3. This illustrates DWM's current departmental organizational chart. I'd like to welcome Jonathan Williams to the DWM team, the leadership team. He will be serving as the interim deputy commissioner of the Office of Financial Administration. He comes from the Department of Finance with several years of experience here at the city and has provided support to the Atlanta Streetcar and a variety of other strategic financial initiatives. So I'd like to make mention that he has come aboard to lead the Office of Financial Administration following CFO Mohammed Ballah's departure. Advancing to slide number 4, this highlights the department's progress by the numbers relating to our core services and functions for the current reporting period. We advance to slide 5. This provides an update regarding DWM's pandemic response. We've continued to navigate the pandemic environment, ensuring that we have adequate coverage for all shifts across our operations, which allowed us to continue to deliver essential services. During quarter 4, roughly 500 employees were deemed non-mission critical and continued under the mandatory telework schedule. Those employees have since transitioned back to the office effective on July 6th, and they now report on a hybrid schedule. Meanwhile, 900 plus mission critical employees continue to report daily. Through July, DWM has experienced 97 positive cases amongst our workers. We continue to ensure that our frontline workers have the proper PPEs to perform essential functions in a safe and protective manner. To date, DWM has expended roughly $8.3 million for the purchase of COVID-related PPE expenses. Those expenses are reimbursable under the CARES Act. To date, we've conducted over 162,000 non-invasive temperature screenings at 14 locations. We initiated on-site COVID rapid testing at 10 DWM facilities from March through June. We conducted a survey of employees regarding vaccinations. We continued staggered shifts at Oleo Inglewood to limit the number of employees in the workspace and foster social distancing. And we're continuing daily touchpoint cleanings and scheduled deep cleanings at all DWM facilities. Cleanings are conducted within a 24-hour period upon notification of a positive or suspected case. Advancing to slide 6, which covers our administrative and financial update. Moving on to slide 7, this provides an update regarding our personnel status. For the reporting period, DWM had 1,609 total authorized positions. 1,374 were filled, with 235 vacancies. Our percent fill remains roughly 85%, with a vacancy rate of roughly 15%. During the reporting period, we saw team members exit the workforce due to retirements and resignations. And unfortunately, we experienced the loss of a few dedicated and valued team members. We're continuing our headcount management efforts to closely manage and monitor our hiring approvals and vacancies. We continue to focus on filling mission-critical positions and our continuing efforts to recruit talent for mission-critical positions via virtual career fairs and related recruitment events, external job postings, etc. Similarly, we're monitoring our retention of talent. We recognize that the job market is very ripe. We want to ensure that our salaries remain competitive to not only recruit, but talent. Advancing to slides 8 and 9, this provides a year-end snapshot of our fiscal year 21 financials. We experienced a bit of overage in our personnel budget, which was attributed primarily due to expenditures associated with unplanned COVID-related expenditures such as hazard pay and comp time, while we continue to operate within our allocated budget for non-personnel. As of June, our actual revenues were roughly 5.3% higher than projected, and our expenses ended within budget. Advancing to slide 10, this provides a summary of our most revenues through June. As you can see, actual revenues continue to trend steady and higher than projections and were almost comparable to pre-COVID numbers and continues to be a positive. Advancing to slide 11, this provides an update regarding our collections efforts relating to accounts with outstanding balances. The moratorium for commercial accounts ended on March 31st. Account holders had until that time to contact us and either remit payment and or enter a payment plan. We instituted a 3-tiered approach to collections. Notifications were sent to over 1,100 commercial accounts, and to date, a total of 87 payment plans have been established and 248 balances paid in full in the amount of nearly $2.6 million. 236 door hangers were left for non-responders. Shutoffs were completed for 20 commercial account holders for non-payment. And to date, total revenues collected from the over 1,100 delinquent commercial accounts, which equates to roughly $5 million. Efforts are continuing to address the commercial accounts with outstanding balances. Meanwhile, the moratorium for residential accounts was listed on the end of May 2021. During the reporting period, staff proactively initiated touch-base efforts for residential customers that have not made payments in an extended period. Over 1,900 proactive calls were logged. Over 2,700 balances paid and may have been impacted by the pandemic. Results indicated roughly $23 million of the current outstanding balance for both residential and multifamily customer accounts were potentially adversely impacted by the pandemic. The average arrear amount for a residential account is $3,300 and multifamily $13,000, while the average bill amount for a residential account is $159 and multifamily just over $1,000. DW has been actively monitoring potential funding via federal and state assistance programs. We recognize that many customers have expressed the need for assistance. We want to ensure that we identify available resources and funding to support our customers. Congress will be allocating funding for the creation of the Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program, for which $37 million has been allocated for the state of Georgia. The purpose of the program would be to specifically provide relief to water and wastewater customers who have been impacted by COVID-19. The program will be managed by the Federal Department of Health and Human Services and locally by the Georgia Division of Family and Children Services. We have been in touch with representatives from DFAC to inquire further about the program, and we will be participating on a webinar this Thursday to obtain more information regarding the process. DWN's intent is to stay actively engaged and advocate for available funds to support our customers in need. Advancing to slide 13, this just provides a summary of the forthcoming bipartisan infrastructure bill that's moving through Congress. DWN has been tracking the development of the bill, as there are several programs contained that can benefit the City of Atlanta and Department of Watershed Management. As discussed on the previous slide, the Low-Income Water Assistance Program is of particular interest to us, as well as funding of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and state revolving funds and grant opportunities that can aid in funding critical infrastructure improvement pursuant to DWN's 5-year CIP. We advance to slide 14, to our operational highlights. Slides 15 through 18 provide an update on DWM's for Atlanta metrics. You may notice a few blanks, which are due to the transition from Fiscal to the ATL Serve platforms, so we will be working diligently to populate those spaces for future updates. Overall, our OWP, which is our Office of Watershed Protection's SLA for June, was 100%. Our Office of Customer Care and Billing Services SLA for June was also 100%, and our Office of Linear Infrastructure's SLA for June was 89.7%. There are still a few areas we need to focus our attention and improve, such as hydrant leaks, missing manhole lids, cover, valve leak repairs, and water main break repairs. Advancing to slide 19. This provides an update on the OLEO service request. 46% of service requests were related to sewer collections division with 99% resolved, while 54% of service requests were related to water distribution division with 98% resolved. Moving forward to slide 20, we'll be covering the enhanced communications processes for planned and emergency notification. We recently completed a detailed review of our communications processes and will be implementing enhancements for planned and emergency notifications regarding our work tasks. For planned work, we will ensure that council members and other municipalities are briefed in advance of the work commencing and will provide advance and notice and 1 week notice for Sandy Springs. Traffic advisories press releases will be distributed during a 72-hour window, including 3 robocalls, as well as distribution of door hangers, and utilize all available web and social media platforms to disseminate information to the public. Meanwhile, we will be implementing similar measures as planned work for emergency work, but will limit our robocalls to be utilized between the hours of 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. Advancing to slide 23, I'll be providing an update on our small diameter water main replacement program. As requested, the next few slides provide an update on the program. The city's water distribution system dates back to the mid-1800s. DWS currently maintains over 2,700 miles of water main. Like our sewer infrastructure, our water infrastructure is aging and will require careful investment and gradual renewal replacement to ensure the long-term service life of the system. The goal of the program is to reduce main breaks and continue efforts to upgrade the city's aging water assets. We've analyzed over 20 years of main break analysis data, and it indicates that we experience roughly 15 breaks per 100 miles on average. Again, the goal is to reduce the number by the strategic renewal and replacement of critical water mains. We compared our system performance to other comparable peer utilities such as Seattle, DC, and San Francisco. Our current replacement program is 0.4%, while our goal is prescribed in our water master plan is 0.5%. It is equivalent to a 200-year cycle and has been validated based on careful review of our existing pipe assets, materials, and again, historical main break data. Starting in 2017, we focused our attention on the renewal and replacement of the most critical mains that were prone to repeat breaks. And so for 2017 through 2020, we've renewed, replaced roughly 15 miles of critical water mains and have invested roughly $22 million in upgrades. The next slide provides a comparison of our current program performance in comparison to those indicated in our master plan and council recommendations. Based on our current roadmap and anticipated planned infrastructure improvements for fiscal years 22 through 25, our current program projects appear to just miss our master plan goals. We intend to focus attention on both renewal and replacement of both small diameter and large diameter water mains. And as we continue to progress completion of our wastewater consent decree requirements, financially we will be able to shift more funding to ramp up efforts relating to investment in water infrastructure improvements. And with the forthcoming proceeds from the infrastructure bill, we hope to also see a positive outlook to garner additional funding to advance efforts even more in the near term. Advancing to slide 27, which covers compliance. The first slide, 28, summarizes our sanitary sewer spills for reporting period. We had a total of 44 spills that were reported. We recorded 0 major spills for the period. There were 17 spills that were averted because of our flow monitoring alert program, and we had 0 rain-induced spills for the period. Advancing to slide 29, this highlights our continued coordination with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and requests for assistance, both technical and funding, to address the impacts of repeat flooding along several local creeks. We've continued to meet with Army Corps reps on a quarterly basis. Thus far, the coordination has resulted in funding roughly $16 million of projects at a cost of roughly $5 million to the city. We've submitted formal letters of interest to request their support for a variety of projects. The feedback received continues to be positive. The Corps of Engineers understands the significance of flooding conditions that are being experienced and has expressed its willingness to support. And we are optimistic that those can be addressed via the forthcoming federal funds that will be allocated to them to support our project and fund our needs. Advancing to slide 30, this highlights the city's FEMA community rating system. Recent upgrade from class 7 to 6. City's residents can now benefit from an improved discount from 15% to now 20% on flood insurance premiums. CRS recognizes and encourages community floodplain management, and the city's favorable rating is attributed to the current regulations that prohibit development in the floodplain and floodways. Advancing to slide 31, that it will cover our capital improvements program. Slide 32 is requested. This slide provides an update regarding the progress of our Clean Water Atlantic Assist-Free program. Program remains on track from a project delivery and compliance standpoint. We're currently gearing up to complete remaining necessary infrastructure improvements in Sewer Group 4, and we'll be also advancing projects in Sewer Group 5. Quarterly meetings are held with the regulators to discuss progress. Advancing to slide 33 through 35 is requested. This slide provides an update regarding our program management services team. The team continues to provide oversight of our consent decree compliance as well as diversified services that support DWM's continued goal to be a best-in-class utility, and with a focus on customer and service delivery. The slides contain a list of the team's accomplishments over the past year and summarizes key tasks that they are providing to support the Department of Watershed and that align with our strategic goals and objectives. In advancing to slide 36, this slide provides a summary of our approach for performance tracking for our AE contract. 6 AE contracts were awarded in 2015, and the remaining contracts expired on the 7th of this month and are currently in closeout. To monitor performance evaluations were conducted on a semi-annual basis. Approximately 79 evaluations were conducted over the duration of those contracts. Similar to the outgoing contracts, the newly awarded contracts will be evaluated in a similar fashion and on a semi-annual cadence. And a new quality assurance evaluation form was included in the new contracts and contains scoring criteria to evaluate performance on a semi-annual basis, as well as upon completion of project task assignments. In the event of underperformance, both DOT and OCC will be engaged to discuss issues and concerns. Advancing to slide 37, this provides a summary of our 5-year CIP. At present, it is sums up to $1.72 billion and is comprised of 163 projects. We are continuing to balance capital investments across our operations to ensure continuing upgrades to our most critical assets to ensure long-term serviceability. And then it highlight a few notable CIP projects, including updates for our water supply program, the Cook Park Capacity Release Pond, most funded stormwater projects, the North Fork Storage Tank and Pump Station Capacity Release Project, as well as our Entrenchment Creek WRC decommissioning and South River WRC clarifier upgrades. Subject to your questions, this completes my quarterly update. I hope that you found this information informative. And I sincerely thank you for your time and attention this morning, as always.
All right, thank you very much, Commissioner. I appear to pump out the system. So does anyone have any questions? Please speak up.
Councilmember Hillis.
Yes, sir. Please go.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you, Commissioner Browning, for the update. Just a few questions. One, considering looking at the percentages, it appears that a handful of them, looks like 5 of them here, hydrant make repair, manhole covers, street plates, valve leak repairs, and water main break continue to be down in the orange and red colors. So just wanted to see what the issue is with those and where we're hoping to go from here to bring those numbers up?
And thank you for that question, Councilmember Hillis. Yes, we're experiencing some deficiencies related to those core service areas that it's noted, over the past couple of months. We've been having some challenges with, just balancing our resources across those crews. And so I will be working with our Office of Linear Infrastructure and the water distribution team to get a better understanding of what is transpiring and how we can best make sure we've got the necessary resources to cover those very key areas of tasks that we're, charged with addressing, and ensure that we bring those numbers up into yellow or green for the next reporting period. So I know that we've had some staff that have been out, just continuing to balance hazard comp leave and just, holidays and such. And so I recognize that we need to make some improvements in those areas, and they've been deficient for an extended period of time.
Gotcha. And on those 5, at least through this year, what I continue to be in the red is the hydrant leak repairs, and I believe you'd said previously those were mostly done by contractors. Are any of the other 5 done by contractors, or where are we with those contracts for those repairs?
So there's a balance of internal resources and contracting resources that support those efforts. We are writing a new contract to support linear distribution improvement. Hydrants will also be a part of the scope of work of that contract, and so we will definitely look to utilize, try to balance the use of internal resources and contracted resources to try to bring those numbers back into the green.
Okay. Thank you for that. Secondly, I want to start off by saying you have a great team, especially your restoration team, which I've worked with a lot on issues in my district, and I know they work hard throughout the city. They're very responsive and get things done, but it seems to me that there needs to be more resources as far as the restoration team goes, because of course you all get leaks and things like that, and clogs and all that taken care of very quickly. But the restoration team seems to need more resources, and just wanted to get your feedback on that, and if that's something that you have noted, and just wanted to see if there was a noted issue there, and if there's any looking to expand the restoration teams.
Absolutely, Sam Hillis. I have been monitoring the staff and resource for our restoration team. I've gotten similar feedback from others regarding some delays with regard to the work that they're tasked to perform. And so, yes, we are actively looking to recruit and add to that team, and also try to balance where we can utilize, again, contractor resources to take care of priority locations. But yes, we are definitely looking to expand the restoration team and increase our bandwidth so that we can complete those necessary improvements in a timely manner.
Okay, thank you for that. And then finally, I believe I've talked about this before, but just want to request again that I know you spoke about in the presentation about the backlog of accounts that are past due, and just wanted to request that the council be provided with a list of, let's say, the 25 to 50 accounts of each of the commercial and residential accounts that are have the most money that is past due, and whether those accounts are active or have been cut off.
Absolutely, I can get that to you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner, and that's all I have.
Thank you.
All right, colleagues, I am back online. I don't see any other
I do have a question. This is Councilmember Winslow.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So for senior citizens who like to pay their bills in person and only with cash, how is that working?
So as you know, our walk-up
pay window is not open.
So I believe that we still have the drop boxes available at City Hall and 72 Marietta for seniors to still make payments. But allow me to get with my deputy for Office of Customer Service and Customer Billing Services just to confirm what means we're providing to seniors and others that want to provide cash payments, and I can get you a detailed answer for that, Sam Winslow.
Okay, I would just hate for them to be cut off, from service because
absolutely,
some people they just like to pay cash, and that's all it is to it.
I understand. My grandmother is the same, so
okay,
I will absolutely get you an answer for that.
Okay, and the sinkhole on Chapel Road, is that being tended to? I haven't had a chance to get back over there this week. It's Chapel Road Southwest.
Okay. I will look into that and look to provide an update to you. I'm not sure of the status at present.
Okay, so an address is 82 Chapel Road. Southwest. Okay. Chapel Road, Southwest. Okay. And there was another issue that was in Mechanicsville on Glen Street, but there was a plate that was missing. But so I have to get back with you on that. But thank you for what your folks are doing. Those for keeping us in touch when there are broken lines. That's been most helpful. And hopefully as we move forward, we can start getting some of these other positions filled. So last thing, can you send just a list to us of those personnel that you have that are in the hierarchy so that we know who those are? There've been a lot of changes over the last couple of years, along with email addresses and telephone numbers. Cell numbers.
Yes, ma'am. I can provide that. We'll get that to you.
Okay. All right.
A latest list of our leadership team.
Okay. And last thing, there is a large lot that Watershed owns on Fulton Street that's next to a gas station, and I've sent it in several times to be cut over the last year, and that hasn't happened. So let me ask this question. Does Watershed have the equipment to cut? And if not, do you rely on Public Works to cut? Because they're way behind.
Yes, ma'am. I'm familiar with that lot. I think you've given me a ping about it before. And to my knowledge, there's a portion of the lot that we own, and we've confirmed that through DEAM. We should have addressed some of the deficiencies regarding the overgrowth a couple of weeks ago. But I think we were still trying to validate property boundaries. So that's another one. Let me get with my facilities manager just to ensure that we confirmed our property boundaries.
Okay.
But
that's been a year. It's been a year. I sent it in last summer, and now this is this summer. So I don't think anything's been done. In fact, I know it hasn't. I was just by there the other day.
Okay, I will look into that straight away. I know we coordinated with Dean to confirm the property, and I think we were trying to confirm boundaries, but I will get you a response for that location as well and get it addressed.
Okay, so my question is, do you cut it or do you rely on Public Works to cut it?
We cut it. We have a full service facilities team that manages all of our DWM-owned properties.
Okay. All right. I hope there's going to be a maintenance plan for some of these in the future.
We do. I think this may have been one that may have slipped through the cracks. And like I said, we'll make sure that we address it ASAP.
Okay. I've got some cement so we can put some cement on that crack and get it repaired. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Appreciate your response at all times. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other colleagues with questions?
All right, Commissioner, as it relates to, and I appreciate Councilmember Winslow on the request for the information, particularly for the interim CFO, Jonathan Williams. That would be very, very helpful. The pandemic response. I understand that you've done a lot of testing and there's been a positive response to the COVID vaccine program, or the ones that have reported that they've been vaccinated. How has your day-to-day operations been impacted by illness or people who are out due to COVID?
I think we've been able to, positively navigate the pandemic conditions. CM Archibald, I have not seen any adverse impact to our ability to provide our daily service on a daily basis. Certainly, if there's key team members that are out, due to just general illness or COVID related, we're able to interchange some members of the leadership team and call on other peers and group members to support. But overarchingly, knock on wood, I think we've been very fortunate to not have any significant absences or, illnesses or issues that have affected our operations and our ability to staff, all three of our shifts.
All right, well, that's good to hear. I understand that we're going to hear from Commissioner Wiggins around, it'll be his quarterly update. And I understand that one of the proposals is to have various departments lend some of their team members to out in public works. I'm looking at your vacancy rate. Are you able to support that initiative?
Absolutely. We're always here to support our sister departments. Commissioner Wiggins and his team have reached out to get support from our workers who are CDL licensed. And so we've been lending that service as needed to support Department of Public Works, and we'll continue to enlist those employees with those licenses to support the department as needed if they're able to. So yes, and it's not impacted our ability to continue our daily operations. I think typically it's been on weekends, and so we've not seen any impacts as a result of those employees supporting. And again, we want to continue to focus on those critical vacancies for mission critical. But again, overarchingly, I think we've been able to navigate these conditions in a fairly good fashion.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously we'll want to monitor that and be updated if there's any challenges. And I know you won't compromise your service delivery responsibilities, but I do appreciate the spirit decor among departments. So thank you for that. And then my last question is relative to the CARES Act funding. I don't know if we've gotten anything from the American Rescue Plan, but have you actually received first fund for those eligible citizens who are getting utility support through that funding source?
No. So, again, we've not seen any direct proceeds from CARES and ARP. I think those funds were earmarked and targeted towards the rental assistance program. And certainly, as those customers in need begin to cure some of their, needs associated with their households, the thought is that they will utilize some of those funds to remit payments for their arrears. And, as I spoke about in the presentation, we are looking towards the low-income assistance program. It's going to be administered through DFAC, and so we'll look to use those proceeds to provide support to our customers in need. And then also we have our care program, and so we've been steering some of our customers to that program as well. for assistance.
Okay, so I probably did not articulate my question well, and I think the answer is no. So
No.
you are through the utility assistance provisions in those federal allocations in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The City of Atlanta utility is not a category or a amount. You cannot use those dollars to pay your water bills within the City of Atlanta. Is that true or not?
Yeah, so the funds were received through the United Way, and then they were distributed or allocated through 8 nonprofits. And I think I may have provided a detailed summary in a response to previous questions from our May 9th. My May 9th update, but basically, yes, they are allowed to utilize those proceeds to pay for various utilities.
And is that a direct payment, or are you saying that goes to the applicant, or does that go directly to the utility provider, in this case, water department for the City of Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm not sure how those 8 nonprofits, but I presume that those nonprofits, they were the distributors and they distributed to the individuals. But beyond that, I'm not sure how the funds were distributed. But I can inquire further about once those funds were received by the nonprofits, just the process for distribution to customers in need.
Because I think that's important, particularly as we look at the expiration of the executive order that allowed for no disconnections. If we've got money in the pipeline, if we've got allocations that may allow for that account to be brought current, we may be premature. So I would like for you to let me know, and all the council members know who are interested, I guess this committee in particular, if there's been an alignment and a careful review of that so that we don't inadvertently cause more harm than we intend.
Got it. So just for clarity, you want to understand how the funds were distributed to customers in need via the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan, and then ensure that there's no conflict with what's upcoming from the low income program.
I know that there are applicants for these funds in the queue with these 8 or so organizations, and I'm asking if be a review or some sort of reconciling of those folks who are in the queue with those folks who may be on the disconnection list to see how we can allow for there to be some dispensational grace to allow for that processing period, which I'm understanding is taken in order time. So I don't know if that's possible, but that's what I'm asking.
We'll definitely inquire. I'll get with our manager of our Care and Conserve program and see if she can reach out and find out as much intel regarding distribution of those funds and to whom and correlate to accounts that are currently in arrears and be able to provide an update to you.
Great. She's phenomenal. And she's phenomenal, so I know she'll do her best. So that's all. That's all that I have. Let me see if anybody else is in the queue. I'm back offline. Colleagues, anyone else with a question? If not, we'll go to public works next. Is one in the queue, Mr. Evans?
Ms. Archibald.
Yes, Ms. Shepherd, go ahead.
I do have a question for Ms. Browning. Ms. Browning.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a company, and we can do a sidebar, but I just want to mention it to you now while it's in my head. Over in South Riverside, I have behind a house an entrenchment where people have dumped stuff in the creek. And have you been out to see that? I think your staff have, or you have. But basically, we don't have to get that stuff out, and the community is willing to do it. They want to take tractors and some folks can go in and pull it out. But I told them that we can't mess with the creek because you all would not allow that.
So we're trying to figure out how do we get this trash out of that area back there that has been dumped. We found out who did it inside the people, but in the meantime, there's a huge amount of trash back there. Can you all help us? Or how do I do that?
I know staff, I think I recall the site coming up, and staff did go out and assess conditions. I think that there were some dumpings on private property, which would fall within, private purview, but certainly anything that's impacting the creek or water is something that the Department of Watershed could help to address. So I tell you what, I will, I would like to come out and go out and take a look at it. Absolutely.
Okay.
And determine what portions we can assist with. And I think code enforcement has been engaged as well. So
right, they have.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'll reach out to them.
All right. Any other questions? If not, we can move on to the Department of Public Works. All right, is that the end of all the questions? All right. We're now ready for the Department of Public Works. Commissioner Wiggins?
Hi, good morning, Madam Chair. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, good morning.
Well, good morning again, Madam Chair and committee members. Well, as you're aware, the Department of Public Works is experiencing serious challenges with the delivery of services, mainly due to the shortage of workers that has been identified as a national crisis by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Statistics have shown that the available workforce can only fill 50% of the jobs currently available nationwide. However, with the assistance of the Department of Human Resources, the Department of Public Works has made significant progress recruiting and onboarding employees. I would like to provide a brief overview of the actions taken to improve curbside waste collection since our last discussion. An executive order was issued by Mayor Bottoms allowing signing bonus up to $500 for laborers and drivers. This is critical and helpful. We are competing with companies such as Amazon and private waste haulers who are offering very generous bonuses, and this at least helps us to provide a drawing card for potential candidates. DPW is also working with the Department of Human Resources and the Office of the COO to identify possible retention incentives for our current staff members. An emergency solicitation for solid waste collections was submitted recently. We're expecting the responses back here soon. They're due August 13th. We want to be careful as we choose providers. Many of the providers who provide this service through private companies have fallen behind. And in fact, every major market every major city, that provides the service and they're using private waste haulers are experiencing similar staffing challenges, much like DPW. The Department of Resources pulled off a very successful hiring blitz on July 13th. I'll provide the stats for later in the presentation. We've expanded the outsourcing of our bulk debris collection services. Our special operation crews have been temporarily assigned to solid waste collection. And this is to increase our bandwidth for curbside collection services. The Special Operations Division handles a lot of our bulk collections, and we've increased those services through an outside provider, again, so we can transfer some of our staff members over to curbside collections. Our crews continue to work evening hours and weekends also. Although we have received a lot of support and from my colleagues and fellow commissioners for weekend opportunities for employees outside of DPW, we have not achieved the participation that we've desired at least for the previous and the immediate upcoming weeks, we have not received any volunteers. We're working with AIM. We've set up an online portal to make this process a little bit easier for participants to sign up via the portal for the next coming months, should they have the desire and availability to participate in the weekend overtime opportunities. Going to our next slide, I'd like to discuss our staffing updates since our last discussions. 11 applicants were onboarded since we last spoke. 44 applicants are currently in the recruitment pipeline. 12 applicants are also scheduled for interviews, and these 12 applicants are an overflow of applicants that appeared at our last hiring blitz. Again, the Department of Human Resources did a great job with bringing many candidates to the table. In fact, we had a lot of applicants who saw the posting on social media who weren't necessarily directly invited to the hiring blitz, but decided to come to apply for the available job opportunity. So we were very pleased with that. Unfortunately, since we last spoke, we have received 13 resignations. Again, this is a very competitive market. We're losing our employees to private waste haulers and other companies who are offering bonuses. For an example, Amazon is currently offering a $1,000 bonus for just basic laborers, and so this has really had an impact on our workforce. We currently have 17 vacant positions left to be filled. Next slide. Well, our next steps are a hiring blitz is scheduled for August 13th. We expect 25 candidates to appear at the next hiring blitz. If this hiring blitz follows the pattern of the previous hiring blitz, we probably will have an overflow of candidates. We're looking at purchasing more automated side-loaded trucks, which will help with our staffing challenges. These trucks will allow for curbside collections with just a driver instead of having a traditional configuration of two workers to work as collectors on the back of the truck. Again, these trucks will allow the driver to independently collect trash left at curbside. We're also looking to upgrade our vehicle routing software to address irregularities in our collection process. We are really drilling down to make sure that our missed collections citywide are basically uniform, that if we're a few days behind in one area, it should be the same citywide, and our routing system will allow for that. We're still struggling with attendance issues, much like our sister organizations in the private sector. This is not a situation unique to the city of Atlanta. And at times, we are having just challenges with staffing yard debris collections. As you know, garbage collections and recycling are a priority, and yard debris falls last just because of the health and sanitation issues that comes with standing recycling and garbage. So again, we're looking to close the gap across the city to where we have issues where yard debris is falling behind. We're also looking to upgrade our vehicles with the installation of tablets. This will help us to communicate better with our drivers. The tablets will be equipped with turn-by-turn directions for our drivers. Typically, we have seasoned drivers who are very familiar with our service areas. And again, due to our retention issues, we're having issues with new drivers that are having challenges with getting accustomed to their assigned areas. I think it's also important to note that we recently purchased cell phones for the drivers as well to be able to communicate with them while they're out in the field. We're also looking at additional opportunities to outsource services to increase our bandwidth for curbside collections. Lastly, I would just like to extend my sincerest thanks to the men and women of Public Works who have worked tirelessly to continue to provide services during this unprecedented time. Many have worked outside of their assigned job descriptions just to help with our challenges with curbside collections. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to address any questions at this time from the committee.
Madam Chair, I have a question. This is Councilman Shepherd. Hello?
Yes, Councilmember Shepherd.
Okay. And could you tell me how long before you will have these trucks to change? I was in the city a couple of weeks ago, and I saw these trucks in a neighborhood, residential area, where they actually were picking up one truck, and they were doing a thing exactly what you're saying with the fleet trucks, where you can have one person and just picking up without a lot of people. How long before we're going to be able to have all those type of trucks in place? What is the
Well, ideally, it would have been yesterday. I mean, we need them so badly. However, many jurisdictions are in the process of purchasing the ASL trucks, and mainly because of the recent availability of funds, ARP funds to purchase the trucks. Therefore, there is a backlog of the trucks. However, we have been in discussions with a vendor who has been able to promise the delivery up to 8 vehicles this coming spring, which is a very quick turnaround. So to answer your question, we're looking at being able to purchase up to 8 this coming spring.
So in spring of next year. Okay, so but I was amazed at what I saw. I was visiting my family in Minneapolis, and I saw all of these trucks, one or two trucks going down the street. I'm like, wow, that's what we need in Atlanta. And I can see by having them, it could cut down on how many people we need, but it will also help in terms of just actually in terms of a better flow and the whole 9 yards. Now, I know the bulk pickup, that's a whole different scenario. So with bulk pickup, when we have any bulk pickup, do we actually have to have folks who are actually coming out picking up the bulk? Or how does that work in terms of, your body and how do we pick up bulk? I know some of this, you get the trucks with the things that can pick it up, but how does that work for our employees in terms of bulk pickup?
Yes, ma'am. That's a great question. So the bulk pickup is typically performed in the same fashion as the automated side-loaded truck that I mentioned to you. It's just a driver who is able to pick up the truck with a mechanical arm that has a grappler on the end that picks up the bulk waste and place it in the back of a truck. At times, debris is dropped, and they may have to get out and pick up remnants of the bulk pickup requests. But for the most part, the driver is able to pick up the entire pile from the truck.
And right now, we're having 2 employees who are just picking it up and putting it in the back of the truck. That's what we're doing now, right?
Yes, for some bulk debris collections, and it just depends on the route and the size at times. But typically, we've had just one employee on the back picking up bulk debris. And that's the same for yard debris collection. If you don't mind, I really want to go back to your question involving the ASL also. I think it's important to note that the ASLs we aren't able to use them in every neighborhood right now due to areas that have high concentrations of on-street parking and makes it difficult to access the cans. And so there are areas of the city where we could successfully deploy the ASL trucks, and we are working to identify those areas. We actually have 6 ASLs that are currently in use, and we are using the trucks in those communities but we're looking to expand the area, of course, and so we're looking at other neighborhoods and communities where we could use these vehicles.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else have a question for Commissioner Wiggins? Go ahead, please. Okay. Order up to that, Ms. Ellis and Mascite. All right, Ms. Boone, was that you first?
He also has been working with Public Works. We have a job with Commission Foreman on Thursday, the 12th, at the Martin M. And Mr. Wiggins for a.
You're breaking up every other word. I don't know what's wrong.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes. I will. The CT Martin Recreation hosts a job fair with Commission on Thursday, 12 a.m. We are hoping to get a lot of applicants also to assist in Public Works. I also want to thank Commissioner Wiggins for attending a community meeting in Westview area and his team responsiveness. Thank you.
Ms. Boone, it went in and out a little bit. So are you saying that at the CT Martin Center, there's going to be another hiring opportunity? Is August 13th?
Thursday,
August 12th?
10 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Okay, at 10 a.m. 12 a.m. CT Martin. Got it.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Hillis.
Thank you, Chairwoman Archibald. Thank you, Commissioner Wiggins, for the updates. I wanted to get an update specific to, we talked about trash collection and bulk pickup. I wanted to get an update on right-of-way cutting. What is the current rotation on that? I just wanted to follow up about some issues here in the district in Northwest Atlanta. I sent in a request on July 30th about some streets that have significant right-of-way overgrowth covering up speed limit signs and things like that, and looks like about half of them got cut, but we're still waiting on the other half to get cut. So just wanted to get a general update on right-of-way cutting, and then I can send you, forward you the email about the pending right-of-ways in the district that I've gotten emails about.
Yes, sir. Our goal is still to hit all of our major corridors at least once every 30 days. I wasn't aware that we weren't meeting that goal. I will forward you the calendar that we have in place, and we'll also go into look into those streets. If you could provide those streets, I will coordinate with your office to find out exactly where those areas are. But again, the goal is to hit those areas every 30 days. Our strategy is the major corridors are being cut by outside contractors. And again, the contractors are dealing with the same staffing issues as we are. We recently submitted an emergency bid to allow additional contractors to come on board to help with the right-of-way mowing and the littering process. I believe that that emergency solicitation was due this past Friday. So, again, we're looking to bring additional providers on.
Yeah, thank you for that. And another thing, if you could send me, maybe your schedule has this on there, but what DPW considers major corridors within my district. And then I'll send you, I have a couple streets fresh on my mind right now because I got recent emails about them, but I'll send you a more extensive list later on that need right-of-way cutting.
Yes, sir. Will do.
Sure. Thanks so much.
All right, Mr. Mazzacai.
Thank you.
Chairwoman, and thank you, Commissioner, for your report. Running a business myself, I'm certainly keenly aware of the people shortages that are existing right now, and certainly sympathetic. And I'm happy to hear that y'all had a really good, successful recruiting event. When will those people be on the street and be able to join with the people that we have today?
Yes, that's a good question. So the recent surge of employees that we're expecting from the previous hiring blitz will be here circa the week of August 22nd, I believe. And that's considering that all goes well. Of course, some of the employees will have to provide their current employers with adequate notice and things of that nature. But if all goes well, or perfectly, I should say, we're expecting the initial wave to arrive the week of August 22nd.
Great. And at that point, where would we be relative to our full staffing level?
So I believe that will be part of the 44 that are in the pipeline. Again, we have 17 positions left to fill even after they arrive. If, considering that we don't lose any employees, it would put us close to 90%, at a 90% staffing level, excuse me.
And that would be, the 90% staffing level would be at that week of the 23rd of August?
Correct. If all goes well, again, if we are able to onboard all of the employees during that time.
Okay. Great. Well,
excuse me, and I apologize. Let me retract that statement. Will probably put us, and again, this is just a rough estimation, it will probably put us in the mid-80s. And then when we add the 17 additional positions that are currently vacant, it would put us in upper 90% level.
Okay, great. And a special thank you for the men and women that are currently there working. I know it's not easy when you're not at full staff, so we want to say thank you to those folks for doing what they're doing. That is it for me. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, I understand we're back online now. Are there any other speakers in the queue? Let me see.
Shook?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, and my question is for the law department, if someone's available. Is there anyone from the law department on the line?
Mr. Evans, do you know?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, this is Nina Hickson.
Okay. So I'm going to bring up a question I've brought up before and see if your answer's changed under the circumstances. In the past, the law department has opined that, despite missed pickups and, delayed pickups and all of that, things are still being picked up, and therefore, the terms of the fee and return as far as services are not being violated. But there seems to be no end in sight. Does the law department have any kind of limitation on how long this condition may obtain before, in fact, it does become a problem that we are charging X and delivering X minus Y?
Council Member Shook, there are several issues in that question. We have provided an opinion as relates to that, but let me start with the first aspect of it is the code. Under the code, the commissioner can determine the frequency with which the service is provided, and so per the code, we are still in compliance. As relates to rates, and what services are to be provided. That's a matter that is the subject of litigation and should be discussed in executive session. And so I would not go into further detail on that because of the pending litigation. I'm willing to have that discussion in executive session if that's appropriate, if you all wish for me to do that.
But do you disagree that the reality is, and then the bills have gone out, we're charging X, but we're delivering X minus Y, correct?
I would disagree.
Please explain.
That's a matter that needs to be discussed in executive session because of the litigation. I cannot discuss it in open session.
Well, as someone whose mind is not hemmed in by legal training, I mean, I know when something is wrong when I see it. I can hardly leave my house without being held accountable for this disastrous situation. I'm really tired of it in a way that a few things have fatigued me. And there's been no apology. There's been no acknowledgement. I know the commissioner's doing the best he can. God bless the people who are still out there doing their job. None of this is their fault, but we're stuck, and something has to happen that recognizes the obligation we have to the ratepayers. And it's only a matter of time before I introduce legislation requiring a rebate. But I look forward to our ensuing conversation. Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all.
Madam Chair, I will say that I have made a request to make a report during the August 16th council meeting during executive session on the status of the matter that I cannot discuss in an open session.
So that would be at the very next full council meeting next Monday.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mr. Evans, anyone else in the speakers queue?
This is Councilmember Hillis. I have a question for Ms. Hickson.
Oh, please, go ahead.
Yes, Ms. Hickson, I just wanted to follow up on an item, which hopefully doesn't require an executive session, but I believe it was about 3 weeks ago now, when you stated that the study was about 45 days out. Is that still on track?
Yes, and that will be yes.
Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing more on Monday. Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair, I had a question at the end. So, Commissioner, thank you for your efforts. I know you've been running helter-skelter, because I've kind of been running helter-skelter with you with all these people who seem to be dumping in the city of Atlanta, illegal dumping. So, are we working on a maintenance plan? I know we may be a little bit away from that because you just got here a couple of months ago, but just working on a maintenance plan for the future in regard to City of Atlanta properties that we own and getting them on some kind of schedule. And I guess as council people, do we need to help you to give you a list in our district where we know there's City of Atlanta properties that need to be maintained and have a maintenance plan, as opposed to us just willy-nilly, as we've done in the past, calling in when something needs to be cut?
Yes, ma'am. Another great question. So we do currently have a maintenance plan in place, as you know, for the city right-of-ways. Basically the areas along the roadside, as it relates to city-owned properties, specifically unimproved properties. I recently had a conversation with my colleague, Commissioner of Dean, and Dean has been tasked to some properties that were owned by the city and they were deficient of equipment and staff to do so. So we are working with Dean to cut those properties through the use of our outside contractors. So we're working with Dean to address some of the city-owned properties. As Commissioner Browning mentioned, that there are properties that are owned by Dean that she's handling on her own. And so if any of my fellow commissioners have any properties that are owned by the city or their department and are in need of assistance, we're more than willing to help them out.
Oh, okay, so let me ask this question, because it sounds like a lot of stuff is being piled up on you, or you're taking in a lot, and hopefully you can handle it at some point in time. I don't know if you can handle it right now, so don't bite off more than you can chew, Commissioner, okay, because people will then be expecting. So, the other part of public works is that when owners can't be found for vacant structures where grass is high or vacant lots, then that responsibility is thrown on to public works as well. So that's what I'm saying, be careful. I'm trying to hit, I know you're trying to please everybody, but you may please no one and make everyone mad. So I'm just throwing that out just as information for you to have, so that you're already on overload, because the rest of us as district people, we're on overload with what we're seeing out in the district, and we're, hiring, folks to take care of some things that public works just can't handle, because it's just, like last month it rained 3 out of 4 weeks out of the month. I mean, my God, now grass is growing. So that's just another tidbit. I just wanted to say that, just so that you're aware that some other things may be coming your way, but you can't handle everything at one time.
Yes, ma'am. You bring up a very good point, and we have made it a point to prioritize our work and specifically work assisting other departments. But again, the bulk of our problems are due to the national staffing shortage, and therefore we're just handling work according to the assigned priority.
Okay, very good. All right. I'm afraid for you. You got a lot of responsibilities there. We're just in a pandemic situation. And I'm going to try to help you with employees as well. Okay, we all need to be able to do that. Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair.
No, thank you. Mr. Evans, is anyone else in the queue? Anybody? So, Commissioner, you told me during one of our many, many phone calls that there are certain parts of town where there's more yard debris than others. So I was hoping that you would present something by quadrant or something and talk about your strategies for what to do along those quadrants where there is the highest amount of yard debris. You said District 5 is one of those districts where there's a lot of yard debris. So how are you approaching the different sides of the city? And
that's another great question. So as you mentioned, the northwest and northeast portion of the city is where we collect the most tonnage for yard debris. And our strategy is fluid. And the reason I say it's fluid is because it's based on attendance. As I mentioned earlier, that our first priority, of course, is getting garbage and recycling collected. And we've had days to where we have only been able to send one crew out for yard collections due to low attendance. And so, regardless of how much we prepare the night before, we just have to be prepared for the attendance levels on a daily basis. And as I mentioned earlier, our goal is to make sure that we collect the yard debris across the city consistently, meaning that we would not be 5 days behind on one side of town and only 1 day behind on the other side of town. I'm just using the amount of time as an example. So our strategy changes, and so therefore it's very difficult for me to outline the strategy because we just have to have an adaptable model. But again, the bulk of our resources, being staffing and equipment, has been deployed to the northeast and northwest portions of the city, and I can provide that tonnage collection map during my quarterly update as well, if needed. We are also looking at putting out notifications via social media. I believe that most citizens do not understand that yard debris collections the service is not extended to commercial contractors. We have several commercial contractors that are placing yard trimmings at Curbside, which is causing our citizens to subsidize the cost of those yard landscape professionals that have been able to reduce their costs and overhead by placing the clippings at Curbside. So we're looking to put that information out publicly to educate everyone on the proper way to dispose yard debris. The contractors, landscape contractors that have City of Atlanta business licenses, we'll try to work with them so they can dump the yard trimmings in one of our transfer stations. So that is also part of the strategy, but mainly we have to adapt our strategy on a day-to-day basis.
So you're saying if the 16-year-old next door, I heard you say business license, so you're only isolating out those professional operators of lawn care services who have a business license. So if a 16-year-old pushing his lawnmower up and down the street and puts things in the brown bags and places those things on the curb, that's not who you're talking about. Is that right?
Well, no. Just a commercial landscaper who's doing this for profit. Of course, we will have to make the decision on a case-by-case basis. The goal is to be able to manage the collection of yard debris. And a big part of our problem is that much of the items that we're collecting have been placed at Curbside by commercial landscape providers.
I think that's kind of, I don't know, that's an interesting approach. That's probably minutia and maybe majoring in minor because, if you hire someone to do what you could do yourself, I don't know why that matters to the city, right? Because if it's from a private person's yard and they hire somebody, in addition to paying their sanitation fees, hire someone to help them do what they could do themselves, I'm not following the logic. I defer to the department to unpack that and explain it, but so far, just hearing it initially, I don't understand it. We don't have to debate it right now, but I hope that will be something that will be well-reasoned and not just something as an activity to do to show, look, we're making a difference. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. What would make a big difference would be for you to describe, particularly as I look around the streets that I navigate and frequent, the bags are deteriorating. So you can have a hiring blitz and you can buy all this equipment, and I commend you for trying to navigate during difficult times, but there are some granular level considerations that I don't hear you addressing. You don't have to do it right now, but this is a problem that is becoming compounded by all of the challenges that you're facing. And so one of the things the pandemic has taught me is that logistics is an interesting field of study, and it is critically important to have people who from toilet tissue now to yard debris pickup, who get that logistical nightmare that can happen when things get bottlenecked and when systems break. So that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for in terms of leadership. What at the granular level is going to be done to address what is becoming, to Mr. Shipp's point, something that I know I'm being blamed for, and it is not something that I have I am not the day-to-day operator of the department, but I am the one who is receiving the bludgeoning end of the stick. And so I'm tired of it. So we're all in this together, but there are lines of responsibility. And so I would like for you to help me understand. You don't have to do it on this call, but I do want you to help me understand and share that with the committee and anyone else who's interested in what you're going to do to deal with the bags that are bursting open, and when the crews do come by, it's a bigger mess left in the street that then flows down into our sewer system. And so it's a compounded problem. It's not your fault, but it's your problem, and we share in the solution. I brought forth a proposal that I'm contending that has problems with it, but I'm trying to find a solution. And we've got to continue working along that. Nothing from you, I'm just sharing concerns, and I hope you receive it in that.
Yes, ma'am. If you have time available, I would like to address that question.
Okay, and anything that we say, and probably need to scale it up because this is a citywide nightmare, and I want to help with the dissemination of good information that can help our ratepayers understand how committed we are to the court. So happy to talk to you offline, scale it up as we deem appropriate. So thank you very much, Mr. Wiggins. Colleagues, any other questions?
Madam Chair, this is Councilmember Matskay.
Yes, sir, please.
Could I follow up on one point that you just made that I heard the commissioner talk about commercial landscapers? And, again, everybody pays the same bill, whether they cut their lawn or they have somebody else cut their lawn. And I hope we're not talking about, people who hire people to cut their lawn, that they get less service even though they pay the same bill. That would be very concerning to me. And again, everybody pays the same bill. Everybody should be entitled to the same service, regardless of who cuts their lawn. So I'll just leave it at that. But that would be very, very concerning to me if we're going down that path. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, and let me add amen to that. So, but the point to be continued. So any other questions, colleagues, for Commissioner Wiggins? All right, thank you, sir. And we'll move on to the next agenda item. Thank you. Mr. Evans, please. I think we're at the consent agenda. Mr. Evans? Are you muted? Well, in the interest of time, I'll read the first one and you're back, Mr. Evans?
Okay, great. Can you hear me? Super.
Yes. Please go section H.
Item number 1 is 21-00633. An ordinance by City Utilities Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a cooperative technical assistance intergovernmental cost sharing agreement between the City of Atlanta, Cobb County, Marietta Water Authority, DeKalb County, the Atlanta Fulton County Water Resources Commission, Gwinnett County, and the Atlanta Regional Commission to fund technical and legal research related to water supply in an amount not to exceed $900,000.00 for the period July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2024, subject to and expressly contingent upon the adoption and approval of the fiscal year 2023 and 2024 budgets. All contracted work shall be charged to and paid from the fund department, organization, and account number listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 2, 21-00634. An ordinance by City Utilities Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to amend the fiscal year 2022 Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund budget in the amount of $20 million and 0 cents to transfer funds from the watershed reserves for appropriations and add funds to the Sewer Group 4 Small Diameter Rehabilitation Project B and for other purposes. Item number 3, 21-00635, an ordinance by City Utilities Committee waiving the requirement of Section 2-910 of the Atlanta City Code to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to accept a Section 319H grant and amend the fiscal year 2022 intergovernmental grant fund budget in the amount of $400,000.00 to participate and appropriate grant funds from the Georgia Environmental Protection Division to the Intergovernmental Grant Fund to authorize the mayor or designee to execute an agreement for the 319H grant to fund the Utoy Creek Watershed Project, which requires matching funds in an amount of $600,000.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the Fund Department organization and account numbers listed and for other purposes. Item number 4, 21-00636, an ordinance by City Utilities Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute all appropriate documents to grant a utility easement to Georgia Power Company for a utility easement over the real property known as 0 Bridges Avenue, tax parcel identification number 140138LL0015, Fulton County, Georgia, to anticipate and appropriate an amount not to exceed $1,500 as compensation for the easement, waiving Real Estate and Procurement Code, Article 10, Subdivision 3, Sections 2-1571, 2-1572, and 2-1574 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes. Item number 5, 21-00637, an ordinance by City Utilities Committee to ratify services rendered in connection with agreement RFPS 1200282 Green Infrastructure Design Challenge, Continental Colony Elementary School with Star White House Landscape Architects and Planners, PLLC, beginning August 20th, 2021, to authorize the mayor or her designee to execute the First Amendment to the agreement to extend the term of the agreement retroactively effective from August 20th, 2021 through February 16th, 2022 at no additional cost on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management in accordance with Section 2-1163, subsection C of Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes. Item number 6, 21-00638, an ordinance by City Utilities Committee to authorize the mayor or her designee to execute the First Amendment to Agreement SS-S-1200564, Info Water Software Licenses, Training and Annual Support to amend the effective date to July 1, 2020 to exercise the first renewal option under the agreement for a term of 1 year retroactively, effective from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, in an amount not to exceed $90,526.50, to ratify the services rendered in connection with the agreement beginning July 1, 2020 through October 7, 2020, and from July 1, 2021 through the exercise of the first renewal on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management and in accordance with Section 2-1163, subsection C of Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the Fund Department organization and account number listed herein and for other purposes.
All right. Yes, by virtue of having read those, they are accepted. Now moving on to regular agenda section I. Mr. Evans.
Madam Chair, item number 7 and item number 10 can be taken together if the committee wishes to do so. Would you like me to read them together?
Please.
Item number 7, 21-00475, an ordinance by City Utilities Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to amend the fiscal year 2022 water and wastewater renewal and extension budget in an amount of $10,400,000.00 to transfer funds from the watershed reserves and for appropriations and add funds to the Program Management Services Team Project and for other purposes. Item number 10 is a resolution by City Utilities Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to exercise the second renewal option for FC 9838 Program Management Services with Stantec SG joint venture for a term of 1 year, effective 1 through October 29, 2022, in an amount not to exceed $9 million and 0 cents to execute the third amendment to the agreement to add funding for services rendered during the term of the agreement in an amount not to exceed $1,400,000 and 0 cents. On behalf of the Department of Watershed Management, all contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account number listed herein and for other purposes.
Commissioner Browning? Commissioner Browning?
Hey, good morning, Madam Chair, council members. This is Makita Browning, Department of Watershed. The purpose of this legislation is to seek approval to enter into the second and final renewal year for FC 9838 Program Management Services with Stantec SG joint venture for a term of 1 year. The Management Services team is tasked with providing regulatory compliance oversight for the DWM's consent decrees, and also provide support with project controls and delivery, as well as strategic organizational and operational support. The team has provided satisfactory performance to date. Subject to your questions, this completes my overview.
Colleagues, any questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, well, so let's see. We've got a motion to approve. Anybody want to second it? Winslow seconds it. Okay, great. Now we're at the debate. Mr. Schultz.
Yeah, thank you. I know that the PMT often one of the great things that they have been able to do, along with a host of other activities, is provide valuable engineering improvements, and so value engineering improvements. And so, can you tell me what kinds of value engineering improvements they've contributed to in the last year?
Hey, absolutely, CM Shook. That's a very good question. The program has continued to diversify their services, and they are continuing to provide value engineering. Within the past year, they value engineered our upcoming downtown water storage tank project that we'll be looking to activate for procurement soon. They've also reviewed the Northport storage tank project, the design that's been completed for that project that we'll be activating very soon. So they were instrumental in the concept report for that. They've also looked at the proposed Peopletown Catastrophe Relief project. They performed value engineering for that very important consent decree project. So they're also continuing to provide support with validation of our cost estimates that we're receiving, pre-construction and post-construction review analysis. They've also been very instrumental in the further rollout of our e-builder program or project management software to better track delivery and completion of our project. So they've been an instrumental supplemental component of our team, and again, they provided satisfactory support to us over the duration of the contract.
Well, good. That's heartening to hear. I would love to see some numbers associated with that.
They also provided, we did some value engineering of consent decree projects within the combined area. And so instrumental in bringing us, enlightening us on a software called Optimatics that really allowed us to further refine all those consent decree projects, and we did manage to achieve some significant cost savings. So, certainly I can provide, the results of their value engineering for those projects and initiatives in question, and share with you the cost savings that we anticipate to achieve.
Well, that is fantastic, and I will, out of enthusiasm to get those numbers, I'll abstain until I receive them. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the queue to speak or ask a question? Mr. Evans?
I see no one in the queue.
All right. Commissioner, the program management will be going on for the life of the program. Remind me how many more years will we have? And I know this is last renewal for this team, but just in general.
Yeah, so this is the last renewal for the current team. We'll be looking to proceed with a new contract within the coming months. Our milestone for completion of our current consent decree program is July 1st, 2027.
All right, thank you. Okay, if there are no other questions, we have a motion that's been properly seconded. If there is no other questions for the commissioner, Ms. Evans, please open the vote.
The vote is open. Shook abstained. Thank you.
Okay. I think that's everyone.
Yes, the vote is closed. 6 yeas, no nays, and 1 abstain.
All right, thank you. That stands approved. With that abstention duly noted. Next item, please.
We're on to resolutions. Item number 8 is 21R3722, a resolution by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone to ratify Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom's Executive Order number 2021-92 to authorize the City of Atlanta to provide a one-time signing bonus in an amount of up to $500 for employees successfully recruited to the Department of Public Works positions of Environmental Services Worker and Solid Waste Operator, which shall be payable to employees successfully recruited into said positions whose dates of hire shall be between July 30th, 2021 and September 30th, 2021, and which shall be payable in fiscal year 2022 from the current Department of Public Works personnel budget and for other purposes.
All right, thank you. I do have a question for the law department about this, but I see we have a lineup of Boone, Commissioner Wiggins, or Deputy Commissioner Robinson. I don't know who wants to take a stab at this.
Good morning again, Chair Archibald. Commissioner Wiggins here. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
No, just again, we discussed this legislation earlier. It's critical. Defining bonus in place, especially for the upcoming Blitz. Again, we need people to be competitive with providers. So,
when you had, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
okay. So you had a job fair and you had a number of applicants that you were in. Was this $500 signing bonus mentioned during that recruitment effort?
No, ma'am. This came post of the initial hiring blitz, and so we're looking forward to being able to offer this during the upcoming hiring blitz.
So it would not be applied retroactively; it would be applied prospectively.
I will have to speak with DHR to get clarity on that. I'm not certain.
Well, I have a question for the law department. I don't know who's on the line for that.
Good morning, Councilmember Archibald. Can you hear me?
Yes, who is this?
Oh, sorry, this is Carl Christie from the law department. Yes.
Good morning. My question is, when we think about the gratuity clause in the Georgia Constitution, we think about the prohibition against giving something for effectively nothing, and that was the category in which bonuses seem to fall. So how do we distinguish assigning from a scenario where maybe a department wants to just give a bonus to a good employee?
I know that the team has met with the commissioner regarding this, and that it has been reviewed. I can provide you with more details after I speak with them.
You know what? It's a little bit.
No, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. My response was that our employment attorneys have reviewed this with the HR commissioner, and I can get in touch with them and give you a more detailed response to your question.
I think that's a point I'd need to have clarified before I can support this. So if they're not ready now with that opinion, then I'm going to be abstaining. So, Mr. Evans, please make sure that we get that clarification from them, frankly, before the August 15th full council meeting. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. And this item is dual referred. It will go to Finance Executive after this committee, so it's possible that an answer could be rendered by Wednesday.
If not, by the 16th. So by the 16th is the drop dead date, right? So thank you. Colleagues, any questions, or did we get a motion on this? Remind me.
No motion as of yet.
All right.
Councilmember Massacite, I'll make a motion to approve on condition that we receive a word from the legal department that this is in fact legal.
Awesome.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Mazzicott, seconded by Mr. Shaw. Moving forward on condition that we receive that legal opinion authorizing or that this is legal. Is there any unreadiness? If not, we can just open that vote, please.
The vote is open.
Says Ms. Winslow, how do you vote? In favor. Thank you. I think that's everyone.
Yes, the vote is closed and it's 7 yeas, favorable on condition.
Thank you. That is unanimous. Next item.
Item number 9 is 21R3725, a resolution by council members Marcy Collier Overstreet and Andrea L. Boone requesting the Department of Public Works to coordinate the purchase and installation of 2 commercial trash receptacles and place them at 2317 and 2323 Cascade Road, and to service these receptacles on a predetermined schedule after installation and for other purposes.
All right, who's here to speak to us on this item?
We should have Moses to Juoso.
Or we can make a motion for you straight. Yes, sir.
Hello, hello, Madam Chair. Moses Tajuso, Department of Public Works, Community Affairs Director. This legislation, as you said, is straightforward for the placement of 2 right-of-way trash receptacles on Cascade Road near the intersection of Beecher Road, and for ongoing service by the Department of Public Works.
Very good. Any questions, or I'll entertain a motion, and thank you very much for that.
Motion to approve, Hillis.
Second, Matt.
Thank you very much. If there are no other questions, let's open the vote.
The vote is open. Shook aye.
Thank you. Ms. Winslow? In favor? Thank you.
The vote is closed and it's 7 yeas.
All right, that stands approved. It was unanimous. Next item.
We're on to item 11. It is 21R3747, a resolution by City Utilities Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to exercise the first renewal option for SS-S 1200002 with Labor Works LLC on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management for a term of 1 year effective from January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022 in an amount not to exceed $39,258.00 to execute the First Amendment to the contract number indicated, to modify the effective date of the agreement to January 1st, 2020. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the Fund Department organization and account number listed herein and for other purposes.
All right. Mr. Hill? Mr. Hill, are you?
I'll confirm that he's on. One moment.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'm unmuted.
Okay.
Good morning, Madam Chair. This legislation is for the city to enter into a renewal agreement with LabWorks LLC to continue the support of the drinking water and wastewater laboratory data management software. Both the drinking water and wastewater laboratories utilize the LabWorks laboratory information management support system software to manage, schedule, store, and report analytical data for their internal clients. These clients include the drinking water treatment plants, the wastewater reclamation centers, the DSO facilities, the industrial pretreatment group, and others. This data is also used in compliance reporting on a monthly basis.
And I'm open to questions.
All right, any questions, or we can entertain a motion?
Show approval.
Second, ma'am.
Thank you. That's been properly moved and seconded. Any other questions? If not, let's open the vote, please.
The vote is open.
Ms. Winslow, how do you vote? In favor. All right, thank you.
The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Okay, looks like we're all online now. Thank you very much. Thank you. That stands approved. Now we have one more item to be pulled from health, but understand City Attorney Nina Hickson needs to be unmuted. She wants to address the question that I raised on item 21R3722, item 8 under resolution. We make sure that Ms. Hickson is unmuted.
I am now, council member. I apologize. I kept trying to get through. However, the research was done as it relates to the issue pertaining to the hiring and the what's been called a bonus. It is we've done the research to determine that it's not a violation of the gratuities clause, and the nomenclature is probably misleading. It is an incentive, and what the gratuities clause allows you to do is if you announce it before you, as a part of the offer, then, or that the person stands the opportunity to get the bonus, then that is acceptable. What's not acceptable is where somebody performs and then afterwards you attempt to reward them. That's what is not allowed under the gratuities clause. So we've done the evaluation, and the way that it's structured, it is legal under the gratuities clause of the Georgia Constitution.
Well, thank you for that. So it is the word bonus that was problematic. Exactly. Okay, so we could do an amendment that would both be in the caption and any other place in the resolution that describes it as a hiring incentive. Is that the recommended verbiage?
That verbiage would probably clarify any confusion.
Okay, Mr. Evans, and thank you very much, Ms. Hickson, for that. I would like to motion to reconsider this item.
Second, sure.
All right. Any questions or any unreadiness? If not, let's please open that vote.
1 moment, please. The vote is open.
Looks like we're waiting on Ms. Winslow. In favor? Thank you.
And the vote is closed at 78.
All right, thank you. The item is reconsidered, is now before us. I make an amendment that in every place in the resolution where the word signing bonus appears, that it be replaced with hiring incentive.
Second.
All right. Any questions? It's been properly moved and seconded that the resolution be amended to replace the word hiring bonus with hiring incentive or signing bonus, whatever the one. If there are no other questions, let's please open the vote on that proposed amendment.
The vote is open.
Thank you. Let's see. Ms. Winslow, how do you vote on that amendment? In favor. All right, thank you.
The vote is closed and it's 78.
All right, the paper has now been amended, and I now make a motion to approve as amended.
Second.
I think I heard Mr. Schiff trying to get in there before Mr. Hillis, so we'll do Mr. Schiff in a second. If there's no unreadiness, let's please open that vote.
The vote is open.
Thank you. Ms. Winslow, how do you vote? In favor. Thank you.
The vote is closed and it's 78.
All right, this paper now is approved as amended. Thank you very much, Ms. Hickson and colleagues. And let's now go to our last item. I believe it's item, what is it, 14? Ms. Archibald. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Did you vote?
Yes, I did. I just want to put you in readiness. I have a question after this that's going to pertain to an employee situation over at the Inglewood plant and Watershed. And I just want to make sure that after we vote, we can have someone to answer this question. I just got an email that's a little concerning to me, so I want to ask someone from Watershed, either the commissioner or someone, to address this question in terms of Inglewood. It's an employee concern.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. That we have someone from the department online. All right, thank you. Let's go to our last item, which is number 14. Is that correct? Is that our last legislative item?
That's right. Number 14 is the last thing to take care of.
All right, let's do it.
It's 21-00438. An ordinance by City Utilities Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute an agreement for RFPS 1210111 Green Infrastructure and Landscape Services with ELC RAC joint venture on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management, the Department of Parks and Recreation, and the Department of Public Works for a term of 3 years with two one-year renewal options, retroactively effective from June 17, 2021, in an amount not to exceed $8,865,000.00, subject to and expressly contingent upon the adoption and approval of the fiscal year 2022, 2023, and 2024 budgets, in accordance with Section 2-1163, subsection C of Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, to ratify any services rendered from June 17, 2021 until the date the agreement is executed. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund department and organization and account numbers listed. And for other purposes, there's an IPRO in the committee packet, and it will need to be amended to attach.
All right, I make a motion to amend it for that purpose.
Second.
All right. There's no unreadiness. Let's please open that vote.
The vote is open.
All right. Ms. Winslow? In favor? All right, thank you. Has everyone voted?
The vote is closed at 7 yeas.
All right, thank you. The paper as amended is now before us. Thank you. Mr. Hill on the line?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Todd Hill, Department of Watershed Management. The purpose of this legislation is to request authorization to enter into the agreement for the green infrastructure and landscape services with ECL, RAC, Green Infrastructure Joint Venture on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management, the Department of Parks and Recreation, and the Department of Public Works. The purpose of this contract is to actually replace the current contract that currently governs the maintenance of green infrastructure and landscape management with the Department of Watershed Management. And currently installed green infrastructure needs maintenance. Without this maintenance, it would affect these practices' ability to reduce localized flooding and provide relief in the combined sewer area. This contract will also support UWM facilities management, as they do not currently have the staffing to be able to maintain all the grounds at the UWM facilities, and will be the Office of Linear Infrastructure Avenue for corrective landscape works after repairs affecting private property are completed. Newly completed green infrastructure projects, including Joseph E. Boone Boulevard and Cook Park, will need to receive the adequate maintenance needed to ensure success on these projects. In addition, integration of green infrastructure into DWM's operations is required as part of the city's combined sewer discharge permits. I'm available for questions if you so choose.
All right, thank you, Todd. Any questions?
Move approval.
Who's that, Mr. Shook? All right, I'll second. Winslow. Oh, well, no. Let's let Ms. Winslow second it. And if there's no one ready, let's go ahead and open the vote.
The vote is open.
All right.
And the vote is closed at 7 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, that paper is approved as amended. All right, thank you. That concludes our legislative agenda, and now we're ready for Ms. Shepherd to pose her question. I'm not sure who's here from Watershed, but I got an email that I just saw as I was listening to you all from an employee who sent it to me early this morning or late last night. And it talks about the fact that in the email that they work at the Inglewood plant, employees at Inglewood, and that they were informed that they are to report to work full time. Even though it has gone back to phase 3 plan, it does not pertain to them. Other groups are doing the hybrid. This is like the third time we have been told Inglewood employees to not follow Mayor Bottom's instructions. Our director, I'm not going to say his name, is following what his boss continues to say and not reading what the mayor stated. So can we get clarity on what is going on in Inglewood, and if there's a variable to Inglewood and why, if that is the case? For employees at Inglewood, other employees are going back to phase 3, but they're saying that they have to work full time. And they're saying that already had an employee who's caught virus from the family, and we were not told. So they said they're concerned about the virus. Is anybody here from Watershed to discuss that?
Hey, Councilwoman Shepherd, this is Commissioner Browning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I became aware of this matter recently as well. It is relating to some of the administrative staff that provide support at the Inglewood facility. We've engaged our HR representatives to address this matter. All administrative staff should still be reporting on a hybrid schedule, so I'll ensure that this matter is properly addressed.
Thank you. I just want to make sure we got clarity on that. Because I just read it and I just thought it was important that we make sure we're all on the same page. So you're saying you're taking care of it and you're going to let the employees know?
Yes, ma'am. We will take care of it.
Okay, thank you so much. Sure. You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Shepard, for raising that issue. And Commissioner, if you'll let all of the committee members know that this has been resolved and how it's been resolved.
Absolutely, will do.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, any other matters for the body? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. I second that. Thank you very much, colleagues. Great meeting.